Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum to Professor Aslam Muhammad Zaini. My name is Mohammed Kaka Ahmed. I'm here to present to you K classroom using Microsoft Excel. So let's go to the introduction. K classroom is one of the simplest and popular unsupervised learning machine algorithm, and it is a collection of a data point aggregate together with the certain similarity, that is to find the similarity between one clustering to another. And the algorithm has the following important properties. And one, to terminate at the local optimums, which is being defined by this author in 1984 and equally in 1967. It will work only on numeric. So the cluster have the convex shapes, which is being defined by this author in 1973, and it has been used as a classified model, and I use this flow chart as one of the example to input the numbers of the clustering and to also calculate the centroid and to calculate the distance of the cluster and to group based on the minimum distances. Let's go to the Microsoft Excel, actually demonstrate it practically. And this is the example we are going to be using. So we want to demonstrate this. We want to find the Malay blood group, which the percentage is being stated here. So we have the Malay, we have the Chinese, and we have the Indians and others. So therefore, before we can proceed, let me just try to familiarize you on how we can apply some of the functions in Microsoft Excel. Because as we are inputting this figure, you can see that what's supposed to be here is 0.00, equally here, and some of the elements. So what you are trying to do is that you just highlight the elements that include and go to format the cell to numbers of the decimal places. So let's just choose two decimal places and you click enter, and you can see that it has done it for us automatically by including the numbers of the decimal point. So the next one we want to find, in this case, we try to find a number, one element randomly. So that I will choose number 4 here, which I will name as first, which I will name as a first center 1. So I will name it as center 1 and place it. So let me select again and copy, paste as text value so that you will not miss have a missing value. So therefore, I select randomly the last one here, copy, copy, and I paste it here. Let me paste it here, this as value, copy this one again so that it will align with other figure. But in this case, I'm moving the entire figure to the next column. And so you can see it as aligned. So therefore, you cannot see that here the number is not still formatted. The cell are not formatted. You go to formats, the cell forms, and change the two decimal places. So this one is going to be our center 2, our center 2. Okay, center 2. So this is our center 1, this is our center 2. So we want to find, so we are going to find the K2. In this case, I'm going to find K2. Okay, so and the number numbers of the elements. So you can see that the cell is not formatted. Just go to the format the cell, so don't be panic, and you click OK to go to format the cell, numbers of elements, the numbers of the decimal places, and you click OK. Okay, you delete this one. So format the cell to how many numbers of the decimal places? 2. And you click enter, or we remove, because we don't need the decimal places there. So don't be surprised if you have such a technical problem. You just drag, so, and you click fill to serial. You can see it has done it automatically. This is our center 1, cluster 1 is our cluster 2, and we want to find our cluster. So we have done this. So therefore, we move to so we are now going to find the absolute value of the random number that we selected. And to do that, we are going to use the formula equals to the absolute value of first element minus absolute values of first element here, and then you close the brackets. Okay, and plus the absolute value of the next element, which is this one, minus this one. Okay, and you close the bracket, plus the absolute value next element, one, minus, okay, and you close the bracket, plus and the absolute values of the next element, the last element here, minus this element, and you close the bracket. It has done it for us automatically, but so let's use F4 to format the cell, so that we will not have, we'll be having mixing value from other elements, from other cell. We include F4 to elements of C13, B13, E13, and F13. So F4, 4, 4, 4, and the last one, F4, 4. So you click enter. So you drag it to affect other numbers of the element here. So this is our first cluster 1. So in the second cluster, you use the same formula equals to the absolute values of the first element and the last element, minus the second element. We close the bracket, and plus the absolute values of the next element, which is this one. So minus the second element, so you close the bracket, plus the absolute values of the next element, this one, minus this one. Okay, so you close the bracket, plus the absolute values of the next element, the last element here, minus the last element here. You close the bracket, enter. You can see it has generated it. So let's apply the same formula to avoid the mixing value. So F4, so we are going to look at the C4, C14, D14, E14, and F14. So we use F4, F4, avoid the missing value from other cell while we are trying to copy it to another cell. So F4, so and then you click enter. So you can see it has generated this for us automatically. So you don't need to be do this digitally. So you drag. This is our first enumeration. So we look for the minimum numbers among of the cluster 1 and cluster 2. So, and by looking at this, you look at which one is the minimum number among of these. This one, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. So this is our first enumeration. So you copy the, so let's have the copy of this, the first enumeration. So you paste as a text value to avoid the missing value. So don't be panic. So let's try to digitize this to format the cell so that to include the numbers of the decimal places. Okay, so this is our first enumeration. So to get our second enumeration now, so we are going to use a formula to find the average equals to from the center 1 and equally the center 2 to find the average of the next enumeration. Average of the first element of what we got from the cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, cluster 4, and it apply in 1, 2, 3, 4. So cluster 1, okay, cluster 2, 3, and cluster 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is our average. So you click enter, you get this number, and you drag it to apply. So you can see it's a change here. So we found the second one. So our minimum number in this first class string is started from 5. So we apply the same formula equals to average of the minimum number, which is 5, okay, minus 6, minus 7, minus 2. So you close the bracket, and this our second this is our second average. So you drag it, so you can see it has applied to this one. So this is, we can now see, we cannot delete the first numbers of the class with the minimum number. So what is now going to be our minimum number here now? 1, 2, 3, okay, 2, 2, 2, 2. So this is our minimum number in the second enumeration. So let's try to copy this also. So we paste it somewhere here, fix as value. Okay. So can we proceed? 1, 2, 3. So it's not the same. 1, 2, 3. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is 1, 2, 3. So let's proceed. So we still are going to find the average of the second enumeration, and we apply the same formula equals to the average of average of the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3. First element, comma, second element, comma, and third element. Okay, and we close the bracket. So this is our average. So you drag it. Okay, so when you drag it, you can see it has changed the figure there. So the next one, we look for the average for the second enumeration, for the second center average. the average of from 4, so from 4, okay, comma 5, 6, 7, 8. So close the bracket and click enter. And this is our second average. You drag it, don't forget, so that you can see the figures have already changed. So you delete this one. This is our second enumeration. So therefore, we are now going to find the minimum numbers among of this cluster 1, cluster 2. So the minimum number here is 1, 2, 3, okay, 2, 2, 2, 2. So this is our second, this is our third enumeration. So therefore, let's copy this third enumeration also and keep keep it as a record. This is our third enumeration. So let's paste it as a value to avoid the missing value. So this is what we get as our third enumeration. So let's just label it first enumeration, second enumeration, the third enumeration, third enumeration. So let us look at the what we got in the second. If it is the same thing, so there's no point in proceeding. And if it is not the same thing, so we just have to proceed again. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So therefore, our cluster 1, our second enumeration and third enumeration is the same thing. So we can now predict that the answer we get from the second enumerations and the third enumeration, if the answer is yes, that the answer we got from the first and second enumeration now is the same. So our cluster will now conclude that our cluster 1 is 1, 2, 3. Is 1, 2, 3. So therefore, our cluster 2 is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So therefore, this is our answer. So we now report that our cluster 1 is 1, 2, 3, and our cluster 2 is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you for listening. God bless.